Emmanuel Aguichi.
Emmanuel. Oh my God.
Yeah, Agite.
Agite.
He played for them last
Ajede,
year.
right? J-E-T, Ajeti?
Agite, yeah.
Up tonight as the homestanding Richmond Kickers will take on the Charleston Battery. Mike Neville and Mark Bushman alongside of you once again. And Mark, when you think of rivalries in the USL, this one might be right near the top, right?
I think it's one of the best rivalries in all of soccer, to be honest with you, in the United States. These guys have gone back so many years. I've covered this league for almost 15 years. They didn't like each other then. They don't like each other now. A lot of the players have been there for a long time, so there's a really good rivalry. Both teams coming into this game undefeated. I think we're looking for one heck of a match, Michael.
And you mentioned both teams unbeaten. The Kickers are tied. Well, actually, Rochester won earlier today in Montreal 2-1. So now Rochester sits atop the Eastern Conference standings in the USL with 17 points. Richmond right behind with 14. Of course, if Richmond pull into a tie, but right behind them, just 1 point out of first place, is the Charleston Battery, and they have a litany of veteran players, including Dane Kelly. In fact, this is a team much like Richmond, Mark, in the sense that they've had 11 goals scored by 8 different players this season. A very hard team to defend.
Absolutely, and Dane Kelly, as most people will say, head coach Lee Kalishoff of the Kickers told us before the game, Dane Kelly is the guy who might be the fastest guy in the league. So the defenders, Yambi and Robinson and Lee and Troyer, they're going to have to really watch where Dane Kelly is, because he can easily get in behind them tonight.
And for Richmond, it was a very good week last week for Richmond. They had 2 games, a Wednesday and a Saturday affair, both on the road in Montreal, and they pulled out 1-0 victories. And speaking of whitewashes, Richmond coming in tonight, 4 straight shutouts.
Gotta like that. I mean, and 4 different goalkeepers as well. Because Ryan Taylor, he's out still with a concussion. He's expected to be back later on this week. So what they did is they went and they got another goalkeeper on loan from the New England Revolution, Mr. Trevor Spangenberg, who we've not seen obviously before. So he's filling in because Travis War is still up with DC United. Like I said, Ryan is out. So yeah, it's a lot of different goalkeepers. It's like the goalkeeper of the week here in Richmond, but they're all getting shutouts, so you can't complain.
Exactly right. As both teams are entering the field, as you can see, there's a look at the Battery as they make their way onto the field. Let's go ahead and give you the starting lineup for this evening's contest for the visiting Charleston Battery. In goal, it will be Indusnal Cooper, who's a veteran goalkeeper as well for Charleston. Also starting, it's Taylor Mueller, number 4. Sean Ferguson wears number 6. O'Brien Woodbine, number 7, gets a start as well. Sebastian also starting, number 8 in the midfield. We mentioned Dane Kelly. He wears number 9. That's the player you want to watch for Charleston. Michael Chang, number 12, getting a start. Also, Jared Van Sheka is also starting, number 14. And also, Emmanuel Ajeti is starting, number 15. Number 17, Ricky Garbanzo is also starting for the Charleston Battery as well. Number 24, Zach Prince. And Mark, how about the starting lineup for the homestanding Kickers?
A couple of different changes going on this week. We've got in goal, as we just mentioned, number 0, Trevor Spangenberger, on loan from the New England Revolution. In defense is number 20, Jalen Robinson. Number 2, William Yambi. Number 18, Alex Lee. Number 31, Braden Troyer. And in the midfield, Samuel Asante is back from that nagging hamstring injury that he had a couple weeks ago. Good to see Asante back in the mix. Number 5, the captain, Mike Callahan. Number 34 is a guy who seems to get better every single week on loan from DC United. That's Luke Nishu. Also in midfield is number 15, Eli Garner, making his first start. Also number 11, George Davis, the 4th. And then up top is number 22, the guy who seems to get everything done these days, Mr. Brian Ownby.
And Ownby has played outstanding in these first few games of the season. This is game number 7 for the Kickers and game number 6 for the Charleston Battery. The Kickers at home are 2-0-1, so they are obviously unbeaten here at City Stadium in front of the home folks, and it's been a very good home field advantage for Richmond.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that we need to mention also, Charleston is missing arguably their best defender, Quentin Griffith, who actually had some arthroscopic knee surgery, I guess, just a couple of weeks ago, so he's out for Charleston. So Charleston's defense got to make some adjustments here on the fly and going against the very potent Richmond attack tonight.
They met 4 times last year. They had 2 draws and 2 wins, and I believe it was Richmond getting the 2 wins and then, of course, the 2 draws. This is looks like it's going to be meeting number 50 tonight, with Richmond having 24 wins in the series, that is, combined with Charleston and their 20 wins. But also, you look at the goal differential in these head-to-head meetings, 78 goals scored by Richmond compared to just 64 for Charleston. Between those 2 numbers.
Yeah, but that's, it's all history. It goes out the window as soon as they step on the field. It's like I said, it had some legendary matches, some unbelievable playoff matchups. Last year's game and it was John Wilson's last game for Charleston, just a legendary player, and he's now on the bench as an assistant coach.
Right.
I mean, where else would he be other than Charleston? So, like I said, it's going to be a good matchup between two unbeaten teams. I think this is a good test for both of them. I think, Louisville, I think, was the best team Richmond has played so far this year. I think Charleston might be a little bit better than Louisville right now. So
we're getting ready for the playing of our national anthem this evening here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. So getting ready for a couple of unbeaten here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, on what is a beautiful night of soccer, probably the best weather night we've had. There's no wind, and I hope I'm not jinxing this, but there's no wind to blow our papers around. And like I say, we've got a little bit of mix of clouds and sun, mostly sun right now though, but a beautiful night here at Richmond.
Absolutely, and they've got the tent perfect, Mike. The sun's not in our eyes. This is great. This is the first time this year we haven't had that. But like I said, a great rivalry, some unbelievable matchups over the years between these teams. And like I said, these aren't teams that are totally different as far as players. There's a lot of them returning from last year. Van Schaika is one of the top playmakers in the league. He's been with Charleston for a little while. Like I said, they're missing Quentin Griffith, but they got Dane Kelly, who's just unbelievable up top. Zach Prince has been around for a while. There's a lot of weapons on this Charleston team going against some different starters for Richmond. Fred Owusu is on the bench tonight. Matt Delicate is on the bench tonight. So Hugh Roberts, who is on the team of the week, he's sitting down as well. So, it's that whole depth. We talk about this every week, Mike, about Richmond, is Lee Calishaw has such depth to choose from. So he's given some of the guys that maybe have slight injuries here and there, giving them a bit of a rest and bringing in some of the younger guys and giving them 90 minutes tonight.
And, of course, the big question mark is in goal. You mentioned we've got a new goalkeeper, Spangenberg. Obviously, I think the early portion, the key with communication with Yambi in the back, which, of course, helps with his veteran leadership. But that's something. Is that something you're going to be interested in seeing how well they communicate with the new goalkeeper?
Absolutely, but like I said, Richmond's had a different goalkeeper every game, so it's been good. Spangenberg is a good player. Like I said, New England thinks highly enough to keep him up there and load him down here. But you've got Yambi there. Jalen Robinson seems to get a little bit better every game. He and Mishu both on loan from DC United. Like I said, their confidence is growing, so there seems to be a good repartee in the back. Those are my SAT word of the day.
Is that our word of the day?
I don't know if I use it correctly, but I figured that it might sound okay. But Braden Troy, I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't seen a whole lot of Braden. He's come on as a substitute, usually like 75th minute. He's getting his first start tonight, to my knowledge. It's his first start. Looking forward to seeing what the kid can do. Then you got Alex Lee, who played in MLS. He's played in Richmond for a couple of years. Unbelievable crosser of the ball. I think he crosses as well as anybody else. So let's see what he does tonight as well.
So we're just about ready. Looks like Richmond's going to handle the opening kickoff to start this evening's contest. Your center referee this evening is Matthew Kreitzer. Jimmy Brooks and Michael Piercy are the assistant referees. Our fourth official this evening is Mike D'Angelo. And we are underway from City Stadium in Richmond. And Charleston quickly pounces on the turnover, but now the ball is played ahead by Richmond as they regain possession. Looking for Garner, but that ball is handled by the Battery. Number 4 handled that. That was Mueller for Charleston as they have it near midfield, chipping it, and that ball is going to skip to the goalkeeper, Spannenberg. And now off to Troyer, and he plays it back to Jalen Robinson. Just underway from City Stadium here in Richmond. Both teams coming in unbeaten in USL play. That ball's hammered forward, and Ownby trying to get some legs on it. Cooper comes out and knocks it out of play into about the 4th or 5th row. That's definitely getting it out of play.
Absolutely.
So a throw in for Richmond. And the ball is controlled by Lee as he plays it back now. And now it's played back to Robinson. He's got some pressure on him. Actually, that might have been Asante. And now Richmond controlling. Here's Troyer. And he touches it right back to Callahan. Callahan was dealing with, I believe, Mark, some concussion issues last year, but he really played a solid game the last time the Kickers were here at Richmond City Stadium, and it looks like he's recovered nicely from that situation. And you had a chance to talk to Ryan Taylor, who, of course, is dealing with a concussion issue right now. And we've talked many times, Mark, on the broadcast how they're being more and more careful about that situation.
Yeah, Ryan's been cleared. He said you should be cleared to start training on Monday. But, yeah, anytime you get one of those, you're going to be out for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And, you have to, Mike. We've talked about that. Oh,
sure. Ball played over on the far side right in front of the Richmond bench by Charleston as they possess here in this first half, and they'll get a throw in. As number 12, Michael Chang, over there. And now Chang has it. And his cross. And that ball is going to skip over. And a shot that Kelly got away. That went right between the wickets of, I believe, George Davis IV, but it was handled easily by Spangenberg.
And it's good. It's what you want from Spangenberg. It's not a difficult save, but get him a couple touches on the ball early. Get him into the game early.
So he punts it away. And a foul has been whistled as Lee was tied up. And the foul was whistled against Ajeti. So here's Richmond now with the free kick opportunity. Well, in their last home game here in Richmond, it was the George Davis IV show as he scored not 1, not 2, but he had the 3-goal hat trick for Richmond. Very impressive. And, of course, we mentioned last year Davis got off to a terrific start scoring goals as that ball is rolling to the sideline and out of play. And then he had a little slump and then came on again towards the end of the year. Had a solid season a year ago for Richmond. And George Davis IV will throw this one in. Gets the pass back from Garner. And then had it knocked away that time by by number 24, Prince. And now they are saying it is a throw-in for Charleston. That ball went over Troyer.
And this is Dane Kelly's in dangerous position here, one-on-one on the flank there.
And Kelly tried to squeeze a pass through on it, but Kelly retrieves it. And Asante was able to take it away from him.
It's good defense there. One slows up and one strips.
Plays it over. Lee chested it down, but it's taken away by Charleston. Here's a shot, and that's going to roll over the end line for a goal kick. We're scoreless here in Richmond between these two long-time rivals, Charleston and Richmond. So Spangenberg will kick it away for Richmond. He pounds that one past midfield. Lee got a flick on it. Here's Ownby. Ownby takes a look now, drops it off. Here's Mishu. Quick one touch ahead. And Lee overran it and then had it taken away by Chang. And now the ball is played back to Yambi. Over to Asante. And here's Lee back to Asante. As we mentioned last week, the Kickers picking up 2 very good road wins, 1-0 victories over New York and Montreal. Here's Troyer, made a nifty move. And Troyer still carrying it. Slides the pass through. Here's George Davis, the fourth. And he'll play it all the way back to Yambi. Good possession here by Richmond.
Yeah, absolutely. You stole my line, Michael. As soon as I'll let you say that because then you jinxed him.
That's right. And good hustle that time by Asante as he banged it off of Chang, and it'll be a throw-in for Richmond as Mishu will toss it back to Yambi near midfield.
And even, sorry, Michael, and even when we were doing the starting lineups, we had Alex Lee as the defender and Luke Mishu as a midfielder, but no, it's the exact opposite there. Lee Calishaw got me.
Yep, they
screwed me up a little bit. Mishu's in the back as he normally is, and they moved Alex Lee in front of him.
So Jalen Robinson will throw it in here for Richmond. Nope, it's going to be Troyer, I guess. As Mark mentioned, Troyer getting his first start, I know at home at least, his first start this season. I believe his first start either home or away. Prince headed that one forward for Charleston, but here's Troyer. Tees it up and plays a long ball, and Garner trying to disrupt that play, and did. Here's Ownby making a run, and Ownby is blocked away. Ooh, they called Ownby with the foul as he got tangled up with Sean Ferguson, number 6.
Looked like a hip check earlier that was on the Caps Rangers game, but
I think Ownby thought that he had drew the foul. There's a long ball played, and it's going to scoop forward and be handled easily for Spangenberg. And he'll pick it up. Dane Kelly was right there. Good long kick once again from Spangenberg, trying to hook up with Garner. And Garner is in a battle with number 7, Woodbine. And it'll be a throw in for Richmond. No score. And Troyer is going to track down the ball. Things already, we can hear Mark getting a little heated, and the center referee had to calm everybody down. You would expect nothing less between these two. And it doesn't matter what the records are. Both of them are coming in unbeaten here, but they could easily be winless. And they'd still have this kind of intensity.
Right.
Here's Troyer. All played off. Oh, good job by Callahan.
Really nice to get out of traffic there.
Yep. Off to Yambi. Yambi carries to midfield. Takes a look and plays that one, and too strong, and it'll be a goal kick. We're still scoreless here at City Stadium in Richmond. USL Soccer, Richmond Kickers, Charleston Battery hooking up. Cooper will handle the goal kick for Charleston. Cooper is a solid veteran goalkeeper. Throw in for Richmond as that kick went over the sideline. There's Mishu, tried to chip it past, but a fine play that time by Charleston, but it's going to be a throw-in as Touriere got in front of that little chip that Mishu tried. And again, ball's headed around and finally settled by Charleston. And taking a look, Ferguson playing it forward. There's a foot race, Yambi and Kelly, and the ball squirts all the way free to Spangenberg. Spangenberg will punt it away. Ball's headed down. Here's George Davis, the 4th. Trying to dribble out of trouble, and does. Finds Troyer with some help. Troyer gets a return pass, and that's knocked away on a fine play by Woodbine. And here's Woodbine still going. Robinson coming over. Good ball into the box. And Callahan comes up with it, looking for a foul.
Kelly was looking for that.
And now we've got a foul called as Asante was taken down.
And that showed just how dangerous Charleston can be on the counterattack. Richmond's done a really good job of possessing the first 10 minutes of this game. They probably got 75-80% of the possession. But what happened is Troyer lost the ball in the middle third of the field, and Charleston was down the field in a matter of just a couple of seconds. So that's how they're going to get you.
Pretty good speed. We mentioned Kelly's speed, but I'll tell you, Woodbine showed some speed there as well for the Battery. Here's Troyer as he possesses for Richmond. Hey fans, don't forget, have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? That's where you can get the latest news as well as live stats, and you can check out the new social media hub. That's USLsoccer.com for all your information about USL Soccer. And here's an opportunity once again for Charleston. And it'll be a goal kick for Richmond. So a goal kick for the Kickers. As Spangenberg will handle the goal kick for the Richmond Kickers. He drives that one again past midfield. Callahan and Asante got a little miscommunication. And now the ball is played forward. Yambi touches it back to Spangenberg.
Yeah, they're going to try that all night, try to get Dane Kelly isolated on one of the Richmond defenders, even if it's Yambi, because they think he can win the speed battle every time. So when they look at that, like I said, they're trying to get him one-on-one there.
There's Jalen Robinson controlling for Richmond. And Robinson playing the long ball.
That's a good ball, and Garner.
Yeah, Garner was trying to get behind. He slipped and fell. And now it's Woodbine playing it forward. Callahan was able to get ahead on it. Here's Asante. Plays it in front of the Charleston bench to Mishu. And Mishu playing it through nicely to George Davis IV. Off to Lee. Back to Mishu. And Mishu able to hook up. Now here's Callahan at midfield. Mike Callahan once again wearing the captain's armband tonight for Richmond.
Good thought he was looking for Troy there, but then they get the turnover.
Good pressure here on Prince, and Ownby almost picked his pocket, and they're going to say it's a goal kick. Good pressure on Zach Prince, though. No score from Richmond, Virginia, City Stadium. Richmond Kickers and Charleston Battery, Mike Neville and Mark Bushman alongside of me. And once again, we've got our great camera crew along with you, Joey, Tim, and Dave, all hunkering down the cameras and doing us another great production. And, of course, we're under the direction of Mike once again. Can't use his last name because he's in witness protection. That's one thing. There's a little pass off to Lee, and he was able to split a couple of defenders before losing possession. But that's one thing that the last time Richmond played here, and one thing you were impressed with, in tight spaces, how they're able to squeeze passes through and create offensive opportunities.
Yeah, Richmond's really good about doing that. And with tonight's lineup, it's a little smaller because there's no Yeisley or Deli that they can play balls over the top to, really. So they're going to be playing pretty much all to feet. And Ownby and George Davis IV and then and Asante are also good at that.
Ball came free, and here's Ownby. And he slides a pass off now to Garner. Back to Ownby. Off to Callahan. I really like Richmond's possession here in the early going. Here's Mishu to Lee. Lee's taking a look. And he squeezed a pass through for George Davis IV. Ownby had it knocked off of his foot, and the ball came free.
And they got Kelly out there again.
That was Garbanzo. And here's Kelly.
Nice recovery from Troyer there.
And now here's Prince. Zach Prince weaves away from some pressure from George Davis IV. Here's Woodbine. Off to number 14, Bencheka. And now possessed by Ajeti for Charleston. Both teams. There's Ferguson as he will hook up with Woodbine. And now Charleston displays their possession game. Mueller plays it over. Ferguson. Now here's the ball played off again to Ajeti. And Ajeti will roll it back to Ferguson. Here's Mueller. Mueller surveying the field, and Troyer gets ahead on that. But it goes right to Charleston. Here's Woodbine looking for Kelly. His first touch eluded him, and here's Troyer now. Off, dangerous.
Dangerous play there.
And Jalen Robinson is able to poke it ahead, but that was some anxious moments for Richmond fans. Michael Chang lost possession to Alex Lee, and Lee's taken down, no call. And I think the reason is because it's advantage Richmond.
Yeah, big time advantage for Richmond.
Here's Garner. And a goal kick. So no score. It'll be a goal kick for Cooper. Hey, don't forget, become a fan of USL on Facebook. That's where you can get exclusive league news and interactive content. Again, become a member of, become a fan of USL on Facebook. Social media. Whistle and a foul against Richmond. So Charleston now with the free kick as the restart is taking place. There's a jetty. Off to Turrier. And now Prince. Van Shaka plays it back to Ferguson. Over to a jetty. Here's Chang. And Chang looking. Some pressure now from Alex Lee. He gives it up to Turrier. And a jetty. Plays it back to Ferguson as they play a little kickball back and forth, and now they play it over to Mueller and Ferguson. No score, City Stadium, Richmond, Virginia. So Richmond Kickers and Charleston off. Both teams coming in unbeaten on the young USL season. And Shaka plays it off now to a jetty. And he tried to play the long ball, and Yambi got a head on it.
And
Whistle.
And the Charleston player got a hand on it.
Yeah. Here's Robinson. Jalen Robinson for Richmond. Over to Troyer. Troyer getting some pressure from
Charleston
Prince.
strapped up the pressure a little bit. In the first few minutes, they were kind of holding back and letting Richmond they were letting them absorbing the pressure. Now they're trying to push the issue a little bit. Oh, what a great tackle from Callahan.
Unfortunate for George Davis IV, he had a tire blow on him and he couldn't keep his footing. And now the ball's played beautifully forward to Kelly. And Kelly.
Looked like one of your golf shots.
Yes,
Mike.
I was just going to say, that looks awful familiar. He shanked that one in the woods.
Is that a drop?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure Dane Kelly says, man, I should have done better on that one. I know that's what I say every time I do that. So the goal kick. Spangenberg. George Davis IV heads it right to Van Shaka. And here's a jetty. Ball played now. Controlled by Mueller. Off to Woodbine, getting some pressure from George Davis IV. Maneuvered around him. Slid a nice pass to Kelly, off to Prince. Zach Prince getting some pressure. And now Troyer trying to help out, but Prince was able to still maintain possession, then have poked away. Fine defensive play by Troyer. And then he's tripped. And now we've got the whistle for the foul.
And now first verbal warning of the evening for Prince.
Yep. And our center referee says, hold on just a second.
You know, Prince didn't need to foul there because the ball was actually going back to Charleston.
That looked like more of a frustration foul. So here's Troyer ready to tee it up for the Kickers. Again, Matthew Kreitzer is our center referee this evening. Troyer hits that one forward. And Woodbine. Sante trying to settle. Gets a little push. And here's Kelly. And Chang playing it ahead for. He's trying to hook up with Garbanzo. And back comes Richmond. Here's Omby. He dribbles away from a couple players. Got some room to maneuver. Played it for Garner. And Garner lost possession. Here's Asante. And Richmond will regroup. Here's Troyer at midfield.
No real good chances for either team.
Yeah.
A lot of this is being played in the middle third of the field. Both being cautious, don't want to give up that goal.
Ball now possessed by Mishu. Here's George Davis the fourth, watched by Van Cheka. And now plays it back to Yambi at midfield. Richmond will be on the road for the next couple of weeks. Next Saturday night they'll be at Charlotte. And then the following week, Saturday, May 16th, they'll be at Pittsburgh. And this ball played by Mueller. And Troyer was able to knock away that pass attempt. There's Callahan battling. Callahan's not happy. He thought he was fouled. Here's George Davis the fourth, laying it off to Ownby. See if Ownby tried to get a cross through, but that was blocked away by Mueller. Charleston, by the way, will be at home on next Saturday, May 9th, as they will host Pittsburgh.
At that wonderful stadium known as Blackbaud. Been around for a while. It's a great place to see a game.
Ownby's cross attempt was headed away. And Charleston, there's a collision between Asante and I believe it was a Chang he collided with. So the free kick. Fans, don't forget you can find USL on Twitter and become a league insider. Join club conversations and have your chance at exclusive giveaways. USL on Twitter. Once again, become part of the social media package with USL Soccer. Ball is played whistle. Oh, here's a golden opportunity just outside the 18 for.
There's a handball on Mishu. It just hit him wrong. Good opportunity for Charleston here. First good chance of the match for them.
It's like about 20, maybe 25 yards out. Zach Prince is standing over the ball right now.
Yeah, Ferguson, somebody you have to watch out here.
Zach Prince has it teed up. Charleston with a free kick after the handball. Marking off the 10 yards is our center referee.
And Spangenberg's looking into the sun, too.
And that ball is flicked. And it goes over the end line. And
yeah, they were looking for Ferguson.
Yep. Our first corner kick of the night, and it belongs to Charleston. Van Cheka will take this corner kick for the Battery. Van Cheka hits it, and it's punched away, and then headed away by George Davis the fourth. The follow-up is banged into the upper deck. So a goal kick for the Kickers.
That was a little dangerous. They went over a lot of heads and a lot of hands. Spangenberg didn't get a read on it. I think it was deflected right before he got to him, though.
Spangenberg will handle the goal kick. And Asante, he lost that battle just because of his size. Robinson playing it for Alex Lee. Chang now controls. And Lee touches it back to Asante. Here's Mishu. And he'll play it over to Yambi. And Robinson. There's Troyer. That was a mishit. Throw in for Charleston. Here's Woodbine to throw it in. Trying to go with the long throw. Troyer read it beautifully and headed it away. Prince got a head on it. Here's Asante. Went down, no call. Here's Van Cheka. Off to Ajeti. Ajeti into the middle, and Yambi headed it away. Here's Lee. He flicks it ahead. Ownby in a race. And it'll be a throw in for Charleston.
Richmond looking a little disheveled here these last few
Yeah,
minutes. Several unforced errors, a couple of fouls in bad areas, and Charleston looking to take advantage of it. There's another set piece for him.
Yep. So it was a foul, not a throw-in. Foul on Ownby.
Yep.
So here's Zach Prince once again handling the free kick opportunity for Charleston. And Prince into the box. And nice job that time by Spangenberg to read that.
Yeah, read that very, very well. He's staring into the sun, so that's a little tricky for him, but well done there.
Garner could not catch up with that. And now here's Asante. Flicks it over to Callahan. Here's Ownby. Off to Michigan. Plays it back. Yambi getting some pressure from Dane Kelly. Plays it back to Robinson. Here's Troyer. He's got a lot of real estate, but he just one touches it ahead to Asante. There's George Davis the fourth. Fights off a challenge. Here's Asante. There's Richmond again. Possesses. Well, then they threw.
Unforced error there.
Loose ball comes free to Prince. Off to Kelly. Being watched by Yambi. Good battle here of two really skilled players. Lays it off for Kelly. Oh, nice job by Asante. And we got the offsides flag up, but we're going to play on.
Richmond turns it right back over to him.
Yep.
If I'm Charleston, I'm looking for Van Schaik a little bit more. He's hardly touched the ball. He's the captain. He's the playmaker.
Right.
Really hasn't gotten the ball in any dangerous position. I don't know if he's even touched the ball in Richmond's third of the field yet. So you want to get him more active, and you do that, and he can find guys like Dane Kelly. He can find Chang.
Yeah, Woodbine. There's Ferguson. And Sean Ferguson trying to hook up with Woodbine. He's got it. Nice touch. Settles the ball. A little give and go, but Davis the fourth cut off his path, and it rolls right to Troyer. There's Asante. Back to Troyer. Troyer getting some pressure. Forced to the sideline. Plays it forward. And Mueller punts that, or kicks that into over the sideline. And George Davis the fourth to throw it in. Here's Troyer. Gets a return pass from Callahan. Troyer looking. Now he's going to go across to Yambi. Yambi will play it back to Spangenberg. No score here. City of Richmond, Virginia. In what might be the game of the night in the USL with these two unbeatens going at it.
I think that's how it was being billed by the league.
Yeah. And a foul against Ownby as Chang hit the deck.
I think Ownby's getting a little frustrated. It looks like it's going to be a
throw.
It does
in.
look like Ownby's getting a little frustrated down there. He's getting hit every time he touches the ball.
So possession once again for.
And if you're Charleston, you don't mind Ownby touching the ball 80 yards from goal because it's not that dangerous to you.
Here's Cooper, the goalkeeper, rolling it off now to Mueller. Mueller takes a look, goes wide with it. Off to Chang. Good touch by Chang to settle that long pass. Jetty plays it back now to Ferguson as Charleston again handles possession near midfield. Here's Mueller. And Troyer stepped in, got a hip on it. Here's Woodbine. Davis challenged him. And a throw in for Charleston. Woodbine will handle the throw in. And he hooks up with Kelly. Kelly watched closely by Troyer. And that's an unforced error.
A lot of them on both teams.
Yeah.
Tonight, very uncharacteristic.
Throw in for Richmond. As you look at Troyer. Lofts the throw in, and Ownby lost that battle. And here's Gabanzo now. And Asante came back. Now he leaves it off to Callahan. Callahan had it poked away from him. And a turnover. Here's Kelly. And Asante played it well. Was it Asante or Robinson. It was actually Robinson. Here's Prince. He's inside the box. And finally it's cleared out.
Some nervous moments for the kickers here.
They don't look very confident in their back end. Here's George Davis the fourth. Now off to Troyer. He pounds it for Garner. And now a turnover as a Jetty will pounce on it. Hey fans, Nike is a proud sponsor of USL Soccer. And you can follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Again, that's Nike Soccer on Twitter.
Richmond looking for the counterattack, but Charleston did very well to get back and make Davis square that ball off rather than keep pushing it forward.
Well, chested down that time by Robinson. Here's Callahan. Here's George Davis the fourth. Drops it off to Troyer. Callahan getting a little bit of pressure that time from Turrier. And now Mishu. Callahan at midfield. Mike's got some space. Now he's getting a little challenge. Now he just plays it over to Mishu. Here's Alex Lee. Lee in that dangerous spot where he loves to cross, and he's, as you mentioned, Mark, he's very good at crossing.
Oh, nice move.
Beautiful move. Lee gets inside, and a goal! Brian Ownby on a terrific play by Alex Lee. No cross there.
Now, wow, I tell you, Lee looked like he was dead to rights in the corner. He had a 2v1. He split the defender somehow, and he saw the onrushing Ownby there. And great setup. Sorry, Michael. Great setup from Lee, as we've been saying. He's one of the best players on the wing in the league. Showed it right there. Ownby cleans it up.
And it looked like, Mark, maybe even the Charleston defender was expecting him to try to cross it instead of trying to dribble through the defense, which it worked out perfectly for Alex Lee.
And I just said that Charleston did a good job of breaking up the potential counterattack because they'd gotten back defensively.
Right.
But a couple passes here and there, and they were down there. And, you know, that was good for Ownby because he's at his most dangerous when he's running forward. He's got running at people, doesn't have his back to goal. He was able to get that. Charleston markers, they just completely lost him. I think Garner was right there, so if Ownby had missed it, I think Garner was right there. I have to see the replay.
So it's 1-0, Richmond on top. Brian Ownby with the goal. Here it is again. Watch this move right there. I think that was a Jetty he went through, and look at
Oh, what a big save from Spangenberg.
And the ball is loose. I was watching the replay. There's a foul in the box as Spangenberg helps up Kelly.
That's the thing. You try to go back to the replay, and you miss. It's hard to do.
Yes.
It's hard to keep track of all that. But no, it was a really good shot. I believe that was by Garbanzo. Just a volley on that one.
Here's the goal again. Look at that move right now. Watch Ownby, number 22, streak at the last minute and just nudge that left-footed shot in.
Yeah, so it was Ownby. It looked like George Davis the fourth would have been there. Look, two guys were there. But on the other end, like I said, Garbanzo got almost a full volley, and Spangenberg did a great job of reacting to that to keep this game 1-0 Richmond.
There's Asante settling their midfield now for the kickers as the home crowd has come alive with the first goal of the night, courtesy of Brian Ownby from Alex Lee.
First big goal, first big save. That'll get the crowd involved.
Yep, here's Chang playing it.
It's a nice ball.
Yeah, Garbanzo was able to find Kelly with a nifty play. Here's Kelly getting a shot in. Spangenberg smothered that. He looks very calm in that goal.
He does.
So Spangenberg boots it away. 1-0 Richmond. With a goal in the run of play. After a nifty play by Alex Lee. I believe it was a Jetty that he got. He went between the wickets with that beautiful move. And then also good patience by Lee not to force the cross, and a good late run by Ownby. And he banged it into the back of the goal. 1-0 Richmond. Here's Woodbine for Charleston. Challenged by George Davis the fourth. He'll tap it back to Troyer. He keeps it moving over to Asante. Richmond again remains in possession as Mishu plays it forward to Lee.
That's where they're dangerous again.
Alex Lee making a run at a Jetty. Here's Callahan off to Asante.
There's all kinds of space out there looking for Troyer on the overlap there.
Sante maneuvers to the middle. Good ball to Omby, and that's a pop fly to center. I know Brian would like to have that one back. Still nice work. Again, there was that interior passing, that tight passing, the spaces that you talked about, Mark, and that was a great example there as Asante was able to get a pass through to Ownby for that opportunity.
Richmond does they're so great at that, just that one-touch passing. It gets them out of trouble so often and opens up all kinds of lanes for them.
That ball's hit forward. And Garbanzo had it momentarily. Ball put into the middle. Kelly is going to keep it in play, but then there was nobody to go to, so Troyer picked it off. Rolls it ahead to George Davis, the fourth. Oh, nice job of just nudging it ahead. Overlap for Garner. Davis, the fourth, decides to go to the middle of the field.
Yeah, didn't have very many options there, but nice to get that little toe poke in there from Davis to keep the possession there.
Here's Asante. Off to Callahan. There's Troyer. Garner tried to go to Davis, but that was a nifty move there by Mueller. And Mueller to Kelly. And Prince, good hustle to keep that ball in play. There's Zach Prince now for Charleston. Poked away by Callahan. Callahan was hit on the inside of his foot. He felt that one.
Yeah, he's trying to run that off. He's in some pain.
Well, that hurts too when you get kicked on the inside of your foot. Looks like Mike's going to be okay, but he's still trying to walk that off, Mark.
He'll be feeling that tomorrow.
Yep. Ball played back to Cooper in goal. Off to Mueller. 1-0, Richmond on top. Winding down this first half. Got probably about 7 minutes, and that's not counting the stoppage time, which right now should not be that much. Van Schaka now plays it off to Mueller. Van Schaka to Ferguson. Sean Ferguson to a Jetty. As Charleston possesses here. And trying to keep it in. Oh, good touch by Woodbine. Davis the fourth. Good job. That was a good job. He did not foul. And there comes George Davis the fourth.
It's a good shoulder charge.
Yep. Got the loose ball, but then a good defensive play that time by, I believe, Woodbine for Charleston. Back comes Van Schaka. Here's Kelly. Van Schaka with pressure from Callahan. Off to a Jetty. And that ball's looking for Kelly. He's in a battle with Robinson, and Robinson was able to head it away, but following up that time. And now the cross, blocked by Troyer, and George Davis the fourth will collect it and start from his own end.
Good team defense from Richmond overall there.
There's Asante. He's making a run at Woodbine. Asante and Van Schaka.
A lot of people slipping and sliding again on the field there, Michael. I know they watered it before the game.
Ball played ahead, and Yambi flicked that back. Beautiful job by Yambi. You talk about communication between goalkeeper and defender.
The keeper's got to be on his toes for that.
Spangenberg was. And he punts it away. And it'll be a throw in for Charleston. All USL regular season and playoff games are available to you live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today and watch all your favorite USL teams in action. Regular season and playoff games live, free, and in HD. Charleston with possession, and they bang it off the center referee. But Charleston maintains possession with Woodbine. Gets a return pass. Here's a Turrier, excuse me. And now possession for Richmond. Here's George Davis the fourth. Kickers on top, 1-0. Brian Ownby's goal from Alex Lee right now is the difference as we wind down this first half. Here's Troyer. I really like Troyer's composure.
Yeah.
Here's Callahan.
He's made some good stops, made some good outlet passes.
Well, Mark, you used the term team defense. That's something that has been evident tonight for Richmond.
No, they've only given up 3 goals on the season in the first 6 games, so they're scoring. They've got 11 goals. Only given up the 3. Well, they have 12 goals now coming into tonight. So.
Right. And George Davis IV, his first touch eluded him. Robinson's in a foot race with Kelly, and they'll just tap it to Troyer. Troyer looking. Here's George Davis IV back to Troyer. And Garner flicks it ahead. Ferguson gets ahead on it. Callahan came swooping out of nowhere to pick that one up. Here's Garner. Oh, beautiful move. Here's Callahan's shot, and Cooper. Boy, Callahan would love to have that back. What a nifty pass from Garner.
That's why Callahan's a midfielder and not a forward. He really did look like he scuffed the ball a little bit. Great work from Garner there, his best touch of the night. But good work from Callahan because it looked like his first touch in the midfield had gotten away from him. He was able to out-hustle the Charleston defenders and get that ball back. Good. It's been a good 10, 12 minutes for Richmond here. They settled down a little bit. They looked good early, middle part of the half. Charleston kind of ran things a little bit, and then the last, like I said, 10 to 12 minutes, Richmond's gotten the goal. Spangenberg with the big save. Richmond's kind of feeling their groove now.
Here's Mueller for Charleston. Off to Ferguson. Here's Touriere. And his long ball, and Spangenberg will let that go over the end line for a goal kick. So Spangenberg, who, as Mark mentioned, the new goalkeeper, at least for this week. Hopefully, right, like you said, Ryan Taylor, we talked to him before the game. He's hoping Monday he'll be able to come back and get in the groove. Had a spectacular game, the last home game, posting a shutout. And unfortunately, I believe he said, Mark, he kind of developed a little bit of a concussion earlier in the week, and then he had that big flip in the game that kind of.
Yeah.
But happy for the young man because he played well that night. So here's Charleston in possession.
You know, it's the tricky thing about concussions, Mike, is that you don't know right away. Right. Most of the time that they've happened. It usually takes a day or so, even longer, for symptoms to set in. So, like I said, trainers have really got their work cut out for them now.
Of course, Jason Yeisley has been dealing with concussion problems, although it looks like he's fully recovered because he had a couple of goals a few weeks ago here in Richmond, so it's good to see. But again,
Callahan had some issues last year too, so yeah.
There's Troyer to George Davis IV. A lot of, and like you said, Mark, a lot of pressure. I don't know if pressure is the right word, but certainly trainers are evident of that situation more and more.
That's Mishu there.
And a throw in for Richmond right in front of the Red Army. Here's Ownby. Watched by Jetty. And a whistle and a foul. Touriere was taken down, so that's what prompted the whistle from our center referee.
Yeah, and Alex Lee just kind of nudged him a little bit to break up the counterattack there. A bad giveaway there from Charleston.
Here's Ownby. Overlap from Alex Lee. And Ownby finds him. And Lee working on a Jetty once again. Now back to Ownby. Here's Mishu. Puts on the brakes. And a foul is called against number 17, Garbanzo. Here's Troyer. Back to Asante. Asante weaves his way away from Bencheka. Richmond in possession with the 1-0 advantage, winding down this first half here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia.
I think we'll probably have like 1 minute of stoppage time.
Here's Asante. Off to Troyer. He's got Garner to his left. Drops it off to him. Look at you.
It's the only thing I get right all game is the stoppage time.
You've done this a while.
Here's
George Davis IV.
Take the wins as I can get them.
That's it. Asante to Garner, right back for Asante, and he was tripped.
Good opportunity for Richmond here to close out the half.
I think that was Woodbine that was whistled for that trip. George Davis, the fourth, to Garner. Into the middle, wide open is Ownby. Shot was partially blocked and just went over the, just wide, but I'll tell you, that was dangerous.
Heck of a deflection there. Cooper didn't know if that was going out
right.
or not. He did a wonderful acrobatic leap.
Here's Callahan trying to get this corner kick in. That ball floats and it's headed away. Ferguson headed it away, and here's George Davis, the fourth, off to Asante. Here's Troyer. And there's the whistle to bring the curtain down on the first half. But Mark, some different pieces in play. Troyer, of course, starting this evening, and some other new faces. Of course, our goalkeeper, Spangenberg, and not bad, 1-0 with Ownby's goal.
No, like I said, it was the half, the first 10 to 12 minutes were Richmond. Charleston kind of settled down and took the middle part, and Richmond was able to get the last 10 to 12 minutes and get the goal. Like I said, one of the things I would like to see more of, I'd like to see Van Schaik get the ball a little bit more in dangerous positions. He's only getting it back in Charleston's third of the field. He hasn't been able to do a whole lot. We're going to see the goal here from Ownby, from Lee.
Yep, beautiful move, and Lee was able to stick the ball between his legs and go to goal and make a beautiful pass and a late run by Ownby to knock it in, and the celebration was on for the 1-0 advantage in 32nd, 33rd minute in that area, as you see by our scoreboard. But Brian Ownby getting the goal to give Richmond the 1-0 advantage at the half. So we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll have the second half of action for you. You are watching the Richmond Kickers YouTube channel from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. 1-0 Kickers at the break. Stay with us. And welcome back here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Here's a look at the only goal so far. It was Brian Ownby knocking it home on a beautiful pass from Alex Lee, who made a nifty move to get past a jetty.
And like every Richmond kicker that scores at home, first place he goes, Red Army.
Of course. Mike Neville and Mark Bushman along with you. 1-0, Richmond on top here in this as we get ready for the second half between these two unbeatens. As we mentioned, Richmond was tied with Rochester for the most points in the Eastern Conference at 14, but now Rochester's gone ahead thanks to their 2-1 victory earlier today against Montreal. So if Richmond can hang on here and pick up 3 points, we'll have another tie at top the Eastern Conference standings. Charleston just 1 point back with 13 points entering tonight's contest. Really an interesting first half. Like you said, Mark, the first 10 minutes, I thought Richmond did a great job in knocking it around and maintaining possession. Middle part of that first half, I thought Charleston came back. Some anxious moments in the goal area for Richmond with their new goalkeeper, Spangenberg. But then towards the tail end of about the last 10 minutes of the first half, the kickers got the goal, and I thought they went back to possessing and kind of controlling play. Is that how you assessed it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, both teams were cautious in the first 15, 20 minutes or so, not one to concede that goal. Charleston did a good job of absorbing pressure and then getting in on the counterattack. Richmond did a good job of possession and knocking it around, and some back and forth here and there. And then when the goal happened for Richmond, we were showing the replay, and and Charleston comes right down and fires and Garbanzo fires a huge volley that Spangenberg does incredibly well to knock to the side. So you had all the action there in about a minute. And then after that, like I said, it was kind of, just, again, knocking the ball around. Both teams still being a little cautious. I'm curious to see what changes each coach is going to make in the second half. We had guys like Eli Garner, who hadn't gotten a whole lot of time, had some nice touches in the first half. Braden Troyer played very, very well. They're trying to get Dane Kelly matched up on him because of Kelly's speed. Troyer's done very, very well. So should be interesting to see what kind of moves the coaches make.
And Lee Collishaw still has Hugh Roberts on the bench. He still has Owusu. He's also got Deli and Yeisley. So he's got some weapons on the bench still.
Yeah, again, absolutely. And I think I'd like to think we'll see at least Yeisley or Deli, one or the other, before the game is up, just to give them some size up top, and be able back to goal forward, be able to hold the ball up, especially if they're up 1-0 maybe later in the game.
So second half underway as the ball is knocked into the Richmond goal area, and it's handled easily by Spangenberg. City Stadium here in Richmond, Virginia. Ball played long, and Mueller got ahead on that. And here is Prince. We got a whistle. And it will be Richmond's throw-in, I believe. As George Davis IV will take that. And he lobs it. Nice job by Davis to settle that ball and keep it in possession. Here's Asante now. And he plays it over to Mishu. Mishu taking a look. Playing it forward beautifully. And Ownby, unfortunately, lost it. And now played right to Mishu. Nice job of touching that down with no problem. Mishu looking for some help now. Dribbling, here's Callahan. He'll lay it off to Asante.
Once again, Richmond's able to get themselves out of trouble with that one-touch passing.
Yep. Here's Troyer. Nifty move there to keep possession, and now Asante will play it back. And
nobody wants it. Somebody's got to get it.
And Yambi's going to have to bang it over the end line. Corner kick for Charleston.
Boy, he had to do that because Kelly was in.
Right.
Just one of those balls that Yambi thought Robinson was going to get it. Robinson thought Yambi was going to get it, so nobody got it.
I got it. You got it. No, nobody's got it. So the first corner kick of the second half, and Van Schaik will take it for Charleston. Right in front of the Red Army.
That's never a good place to be.
And he hooks one, and it went in the back of the net. That one was a shot that just kind of hooked into the back of the net, Mark. It stuns everybody here in Richmond, and we're tied at 1.
Well, it was a great ball from Van Schaik, and it looked like Zach Prince was able to get ahead on it and knock it in there, but it was a line drive from Van Schick, a great ball. And like I said, it's one of those where it's going to hit somebody's head.
Right.
Zach Prince was the right place at the right time with a great run there. We'll see the replay momentarily.
And, in the first half when they had a corner kick, there was some anxious moments for that for goalkeeper Spangenberg and the Richmond defense.
And that all came from the error in the back between Yambi and Robinson, the misplayed ball there.
So a 1-1 tie now changes everything here.
Well, I mean, that's early. I mean, you're talking 3 minutes into the half.
Yep. There's Chang playing it forward, and now Callahan will touch it back to Spangenberg. He's got pressure, and it goes in the net off of Garbanzo. Spangenberg tried to clear it, and he hit the on-rushing number 17, Garbanzo, and just like that, it's 2-1 Charleston.
That's the most surreal 2 minutes of soccer I think I've ever seen. Wow. That is shocking to say the least. It was another misplayed ball in the back, and you can't blame that on Spangenberg.
No.
He had to come out late and was just trying to clear it, and just one of those deflections, and Garbanzo was in the right place at the right time.
See, Callahan just plays it back. Look at the on-rushing. That's just unbelievable.
Yep. I'm going to date myself if the people that are watching this remember U.S. versus Mexico about 15, almost 20 years ago. That's happened to Casey Keller, of all people. So, I mean, stuff like that happens. But that's not on Spangenberg. That's just a bad ball and a way to pounce on it from Charleston. Two opportunities, cashed them both in.
Here's Lee. He's able to get it cleared into the middle, cleared away by Ferguson. And Callahan in a foot race. Now the ball is Woodbine. And a throw in for Richmond. And Mark, for all those young soccer fans watching, that's why you challenge the goalie.
Again.
Here's Ownby. And Cooper deflected it and then pounced down the rebound. Good run by Ownby. There's a long kick and a foot race. And Kelly,
having to do it again.
Spangenberg had to make a tremendous stop.
Richmond, the Richmond back right now seems just totally confused as to what to do.
There's a foul on Prince. Here's George Davis IV off to Mishu. Richmond now down 2-1. Charleston striking quickly with a pair of goals, and what'd you say, probably less than 2 minutes, right, Mark?
Absolutely.
Here's John B. to Mishu.
Very nearly had a third there. All miscommunications in the back.
Mishu's pass attempt was blocked away by Chang. And here's Callahan. Off to Asante. And now Mueller taps it over, and the ball's cleared forward. Kelly was able to settle it. Now he's surrounded by Callahan and Robinson. Here's Jambi. He'll turn and play it to Spangenberg, and he'll knock it out of there. Wow, this is just unbelievable how this game has suddenly turned in Charleston's favor. Kelly plays it back now, and bench. Shake plays it. That sailed over Kelly's head. Troyer will settle. Played it forward, but he turned it over. Prince then turned it over. And here's Asante. Off to Mishu. Here's Lee. Drops it back to Mishu.
Charleston playing with all kinds of confidence right now.
Yeah.
They're just chasing every single ball, making Richmond work for it just to get the ball out of their own half.
Here's Troyer. Back to Callahan. And Callahan. George Davis IV now. Plays it off. Here's Garner. And Callahan's tripped by Kelly. So the Kickers with a opportunity here.
In a position they haven't been in more than a month. Down a goal.
Yeah. Yeah, that snapped that shutout string. 4 games plus a half.
Yeah. If you're going to go down, you're going to go down hard.
So there's Callahan lining up this free kick. Into the box, punched away by Cooper. The follow-up. Oh!
Off the line.
Cleared off the line by Mueller. Richmond still threatening.
There was your equalizer right there, but good, solid defense. Good discipline there.
Mishu and Cooper. We told you before, he is a terrific goalkeeper, and he came up with a big stop, and then he can thank Mueller, who I believe was on the line. We've had some action here in the start of the second half.
8 minutes in, yeah. I think we've had more action than we had the entire first half.
Ball played back now. That went over the Lee's head. Here comes Ownby. And Ownby lost possession. Here's Asante following up, though. Off to George Davis, the fourth. Trying to crank one up. Got a shot. It was blocked, though, by Mueller again. No, it's actually Van Schaik that blocked that. Here's Lee putting
it's a great ball from Lee.
And it's headed away.
Oh, that was curving in there, too.
Yes, it was.
That was destined for Ownby's head at the back post.
Throw in for Richmond as they put on some offensive pressure now. Down 2-1. Ball dropped off to Mishu. And Mishu will play it to midfield. Ball rolled over to Troyer. Oh, nice little give and go. Here's Troyer still going. Gets it into the box right at Cooper.
Good run from Troyer, though. That's what you want. You want your outside backs to be threatening on occasion.
Right.
Kind of keep those defenders try it again, Michael. Honest.
Yep.
See, I'm so involved in the action, I'm forgetting what I want to say. No, that's the best run from Troyer tonight.
Without a doubt. There's a little pass into the box. And a whistle and a foul. Hey fans, have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Well, when you do, you'll get the latest news as well as live stats, and you can check out the new social media hub. It's all at USLsoccer.com. So check it out today. Keep informed with USL Soccer at USLsoccer.com. So here's Troyer in possession for Richmond. Here's Asante. Playing it forward for Ownby. Watched by Mueller. Ownby fights off Mueller's defensive pressure. Here's Asante. Here's Ownby.
You want him running at defenders.
He's running at Woodbine. Chips it, and it's headed away that time by Ajeti, and then cleared by Chang. Out of play to be a throw-in for the Kickers. Here's Mishu on the quick restart. Off to Asante. He takes a look. Hooking up with Ownby. And that pass attempt was cleared. Here's an opportunity and flags up for offsides.
And the Charleston players are upset. One of the players is down. They're upset that Richmond didn't put that ball into touch.
I think that's Garbanzo.
It looks like, yeah. Maybe he's got a cramp.
So 2-1. And again, USLsoccer.com. That's where you can get all your information. About the league and social media as well. So Garbanzo still down. So you're saying you think it's a cramp, Mark, that he's
it looks like it's probably a cramp.
Yeah.
Again, I have been wrong. Usually am. Good shot at the Red Army there.
Yep.
I think I see Scott Fields there. Mike Wilson, a couple of those guys.
Boy, they are passionate about their Richmond kickers, that's for sure. And it looks like Garbanzo is going to go to the sidelines. There we are. He is going to get subbed out.
Yeah, I hope that's nothing too serious. And actually, he's holding. It might be maybe a quad injury or a groin injury, not a cramp. Obviously, if it was a cramp, he'd probably be able to stay in. But right place at the right time on that second goal. He really did. You know, when you look at the replay there, I don't think Callahan saw him when he played that ball back.
Right.
I really don't, because he kind of snuck in. You know, I think he was probably hiding behind Yami.
Right.
And was able to get in there. So just one of those plays that just,
unfortunate,
yeah. It happens maybe once in your career.
Right, exactly. Memo Rodriguez is the replacement substitution for Garbanzo.
Memo's a veteran of this league, been around for a few years.
There's the ball
That's
play.
a good ball.
And it'll go over the end.
A little too fast, my bad.
Trying to hook up with Woodbine. So a goal kick for Richmond. Again, Charleston on top, rallying from a 1-0 halftime deficit. They lead it now 2-1 on two very innocent-looking plays, to say the least. In communication, one of the first goal that tied it was off the corner kick. And you think it was Zach Prince that got it.
Yeah, it was.
And then the second one came on the Garbanzo goal when he challenged the goalkeeper and actually turned his back and hit him off and went in the back of the net. Here's Mishu. Ownby scored in the first half for Richmond, if you're just joining us. Here's Asante off to Troyer. And Asante lost possession. And a foul against Garner. She took down Prince. Again, Richmond will be on the road next week. They'll travel to Charlotte.
Richmond has several guys warming up on the sideline. Looks like Yaisley. Looks like Delicate. Looks like Owusu.
Here's Troyer. And Ownby comes up with it.
Here comes Ownby again. He loves running at people.
And down he goes as he's fouled by Woodbine. Hey fans, don't forget to become a fan of USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Again, becoming a fan of USL on Facebook, social media, and USL. There's a free kick opportunity. And the ball is headed away that time by Rodriguez. And now here's Kelly playing it forward. Troyer settles for Richmond. Asante moves it ahead to Lee. Asante.
Here comes Ownby again.
Ownby on the run.
Great play by Ownby.
Gets around Ferguson, and I believe he's going to get a corner kick out of it, and he will.
Boy, he and Ferguson really went at it down there on the corner.
Yep.
Ferguson had made a great tackle, and Ownby somehow was able to win the ball there and get the corner.
And I think we're going to have a substitution. Looks like Deli's coming in. I think he's coming on for Garner. So Matthew Delicate, the Grizzly veteran.
Grizzly veteran? I say Wiley, you say Grizzly. I say a lot of contact in the box, and the referee's going to have to break these guys up. Perfect opportunity for Deli, too, to come in on the set piece.
Callahan will take this corner kick.
He and Yambi and Robinson.
So Callahan hits it. And it's headed down in the box and cleared away. I think Charleston wanted a handball. But instead it's going to be a throw-in for George Davis IV. Here's Troyer. His cross attempt was blocked away. He got it back, though. Sends it, and it's headed away that time by a Jetty. And a throw in for Richmond as the kickers.
Some nervous moments here for Charleston.
Yeah. Here's Mishu. Off to Callahan. There's Mishu. Callahan almost lost it on his first touch, and then the ball knocked out of play that time by Rodriguez. Here's Jambi. Plays it over to Troyer. Troyer at midfield. Just nudges a pass over to Asante. Here's Callahan. Being watched by Van Schaik. And he forced him to drop it off to Jambi. Now here's Asante. Here's Ownby. Flashing that speed again. Woodbine came over to be a throw-in for Charleston.
If you're Charleston, you're just holding your breath every time Ownby's able to get the ball and is able to run at you. Because he's fearless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not uncommon for him to take on 2 and 3 guys.
And Rodriguez watches it go over the sideline. So Woodbine will throw it in. Right in front of Richmond coach Lee Collishaw. And now Richmond will throw it in.
Looks like 2 more subs are coming in from Richmond. Looks like Sasha Garris is going to be entering the match.
Here's Robinson off to Jambi. And Jambi taking a look. Drills a pass, and Woodbine sends it forward for Charleston. Troyer almost had his slipped and fell, but he stayed on his feet, and now it's played back. Here's Callahan. George Davis the fourth to Troyer. 2-1 Charleston. Striking quickly here to start the second half with 2 goals that wiped out a 1-0 Richmond lead. There's Troyer on the overlap. Back to Callahan at midfield. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman along with you.
Beautiful night here in Richmond.
Oh, yes.
Gotta love these. That's why we do this.
That's right. Here's Mishu. Back to Asante. Asante, good job by Van Schaik to poke that away. And now Charleston will start the counter. Here's Prince. And the ball squirts free now to Turriere. Yes, Charleston now. Here's Ferguson. Off to Ajeti. Playing it forward. Jambi flicks the header forward. Asante is unable to come up with it. Throw in for Charleston. Here's Ajeti. And now Chang. In a foot race with Mishu. Jambi plays it forward.
Good ball. Good touch by Lee.
Hey, Royer was. I thought that was heading out of bounds. But a good play by Lee, like you said. Bring that ball down and maintain possession for the kickers. Here's Callahan. Now Troyer. Silent home crowd here. I think they're trying to recover from these 2 quick goals that really stunned everybody. Ball played ahead. And good job that time by Mueller. And a whistle and a foul.
Asante's calling for a dive. No, you got him, Samuel.
Yeah, yeah. And we have a couple more subs coming on for Richmond, as you mentioned, Mark. And it looks like Sasha and Geisley. Callahan's going to.
And Mishu's going out.
Yep. So Sasha Gelles and Jason Yeisley, Callahan, and Mishu head to the bench.
So that tells me that Yeisley and Deli are going to be the 2 guys up top for Richmond to try and play some balls over the top. Ownby will drop back a little bit and try to be the playmaker there. And it looks like he's got Garris still playing playing central in for Callahan, which moves Lee out to that right back slot.
There's Chang. Lays it off, and good hustle by Yeisley to take it off his foot. Here's Garez. Now to George Davis the fourth. Now Lee will play it back to George Davis the fourth. Looking for some space to maneuver. Here's Lee. Ooh, almost. Rodriguez almost picked that one away. But instead, Richmond maintains possession. Here's Robinson. And Ajeti plays it forward right to Alex Lee, though. Lee off to George Davis the fourth. He's got Garez on his right. And George is going to send it into the box.
Ball.
Trying to hook up with a Yeisley, and Woodbine clears it out of harm's way for Charleston.
As we thought, they're going to start trying to knock balls in there and use that height.
There's George Davis the fourth. Into the box. It's up in the air, and Cooper is able to out-jump Yeisley for that one. And some anxious moments for the Charleston defense.
So Charleston's getting ready to make a sub as well.
There's Chang. Ajeti. Terrier. And now some space for Prince. Off to Woodbine. Woodbine goes into, there's a shot, and that sails over the crossbar. Hey fans, don't forget, follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider where you can join club conversations and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. That's USL on Twitter. Become a league insider about USL soccer.
And the sub for Charleston, Dane Kelly, number 9, is coming out. He's been pretty dangerous tonight. And coming as number 16, Avril Cordovez. Cordovez also a very dangerous player. He's got a couple goals. It's, again, like Richmond, it's kind of nice to bring that kind of wealth off the bench, isn't it?
It certainly is. Ball's flicked back to Cooper in goal.
Yeah, Kelly done a lot of work up top tonight. He's probably on fumes there, so bring in somebody like Cordovez. You're doing well. Kelly
has used his speed to agitate the Richmond defense tonight, which he's been doing for most of his career.
Yeah.
Ajeti sends it forward. And we got a whistle and a foul. Foul was on Charleston, and we'll redo the free kick opportunity for Richmond. Off for the next 2 weeks before the kickers return home, which I believe is going to be the 23rd of May. I believe I said Charlotte and Pittsburgh are their next 2 road contests. Ball played ahead. Cooper came out, punched it away. It's loose. There's a shot. Oh! And it is wide as Cooper was in no man's land.
He really was. He did not have a good read on that. Bounced right to Ownby, who don't think he missed it by that much. But again, you get guys like Delling and Yeisley in there, and Cooper's going to have to be, he has to be more aggressive. He's going to have to come out and fight for some of those balls. And if he doesn't get a good read on it, all kinds of chaos can happen. Cooper's a very, very good goalkeeper, too.
Oh, yes. Here's Asante. Off to Yambi. Yambi trying to hook up with Deli, and now here's Prince. Off to Van Schaik.
Good counterattack from Charleston. That's
on the run. Cordovez slides the pass through. Tried to get a return pass from Rodriguez, but that was read nicely by Garez. Not going to fool Sasha too much. Here's Troyer playing it forward, but it's Headed away. Now Garez gets ahead on it. Settled by Davis and
leapfrog.
Yep, exactly, as Michael Chang is whistled for the foul. Here's Alex Lee. Back to George Davis, the fourth. Sante. Here's Garez. Just missed hooking up with George Davis, the fourth. And a goal kick for Charleston. 2-1 our score here with Charleston on top in this long-standing USL rivalry. Here's Chang. Playing it ahead.
Ball is Cordova's again.
Yep, and he's shouldered off by Robinson.
Really good play from Robinson there.
Yeah.
Cordova was in.
And a giveaway. And on the run now is a Jetty. Gets a return pass.
Nice work there from Charleston.
And Garez just nudges it forward.
Here comes Ownby again. It's got Yeisley out wide.
And that's where he goes with it.
Oh, Ownby was looking for the return ball there, and he just missed him.
There's Alex Lee. He slid that pass between the legs of Prince. Lee must be a croquet player because he's been sliding a lot of passes through the wickets. And George Davis, the fourth crossing attempt, is blocked away. There's Cordez battling Robinson.
Big player plays with his back to goal.
Yep.
Can hold the ball up and distribute it like that, doing exactly what he's been brought into the game for.
And Prince and Cordez tried to give a little give and go. Nike, a proud partner of the USL. You can follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. Here's the ball out wide now to Lee. Takes a look, and the cross. That's skimmed off of Mueller and will go out of play for a throw-in for Richmond. Ownby throwing it into Davis. George Davis, the fourth, playing it back to Ownby.
Nice ball.
And an offside flag is up. So the free kick for Charleston. Ball possessed now by Richmond. And Garez plays it back to Robinson. Over to Yambi. Yambi with some space to operate. And his cross attempt blocked away. Gets it back, though.
Looks like Fred Owusu's getting ready to check in for Richmond.
Here's Troyer. Back to Robinson, getting some pressure from Cordovez. Ball played. And Mueller will pound it out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Richmond. And before we have that, we'll probably have this substitution you were talking about. And Alex Lee is going to be coming out. So Owusu is into the lineup.
So by taking Lee out, that moves Troy over to the right back slot, Garez back over to the left slot. But I think they're both going to be playing up a little higher because you've got 15 left.
So throw in for Richmond. Going with a long throw and ball put into the middle, punched away by the Charleston defense. Here's Garez. And Sasha still going. Into the box. Oh, it just went wide.
And a corner.
Yambi and Ownby were right there. And they say it went off with Charleston, so it'll be a corner kick.
And Charleston is furious. They're saying that Cooper was fouled on the play.
And Cooper is still down.
And Garris did a great job of getting that ball in to begin with.
Here it is. Again, there's the chip. Now watch.
No, it doesn't look like anybody touched it in the box there. It went off the Charleston player. Looks like the two Richmond players and Cooper, none of them got a hand on it.
Yeah. And I don't even know if they touched Cooper on that, to be honest with you. Cooper. We hope the young man is okay. He's
rubbing his leg there.
Yeah, checking that thigh area. But it did not look like any of the Richmond players.
No, it looked like everybody whiffed on that.
Right. That's.
Garris did a good job, but it looked like he was. It looked like he might have been fouled on the play because they were grabbing at his jersey. He did a great job of fighting through that.
So corner kick now. And Sasha will take this corner kick. And into the back of the net. Guess who? Matthew Delicott. And Deli, he strikes again. The ageless wonder.
He just never stops. It was a great ball. And it's the two veterans. Garris to Deli.
And we are tied in the 80th minute. Boy, I watched that with my binoculars, and what a perfect ball that was delivered by Omby.
It was Omby or Garris that took the kick?
Oh, I'm sorry, Garris. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, we got that one right. But yeah, you got the two veterans hooking up again. That was a laser from Garris. It was just like Charleston's first goal.
Yes.
Just a perfect corner, finding the guy at the right time and made the right run. So get ready, folks. We got 10 minutes to go.
Here it is again. Look at that. What a perfectly placed header from Deli. So we're tied at 2, and we're going to have a fun 10 or 15 minutes left. Wow. Here's Delicott playing it back, and Asante. Oh, what a nifty fake he made to maintain possession. He's a little water bug, I'll tell you that. He just made a little shoulder fake, Mark, and they all went for it, and next thing you know, he's got possession. Here's Owusu battling. And Owusu, lost that battle.
Yeah, you're not going to beat Van Schaik very often on that.
Here's Chang. Watched closely by Owusu. Owusu's got his hand, his left hand bandaged up. Not sure how he hurt it. Didn't hurt it tonight, I don't think. Troyer, nice job by Troyer to read that. As soon as that ball was kicked, he was on the move and tracked it down. Here's
a good ball, Yeisley. Oh, good touch.
And Yeisley. And that ball is going to stay in play. Yeisley tracks it down. He's got help. Oh, he had, was that Davis? And Cooper. Oh, everybody's flying. And Cooper's down again. Cooper's getting beat up tonight.
It really is.
Charleston's not too happy about it.
I'll tell you what, on that play, Yeisley made a ridiculous first touch and almost caught it on his foot and was able to turn, and Charleston was able to recover in time to knock it away from him. But it's a great ball over the top, and like I said, I'd love to see the replay there where Yeisley was able to turn that.
And he had, I think it was George Davis IV that was running all alone, but instead he decided to cross. Now, I'm not saying he made the bad decision.
Well, you see Deli running in from the 18. You're going to play that ball 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, you're right. Here's the goal again. Look at what's the flick right there. Boy, how many times have we seen him do that in his career?
A lot.
And Cooper had no prayer on that, the goalkeeper for Charleston. So we're tied at 2. That was the tying goal that has brought us to 2-2.
But yeah, you're right. Cooper has taken a beating, especially since Deli and Yeisley have come in.
It's nice to see him up and staying in the game. Here's Chang. Good ball for Rodriguez. And that will go over the end line for a goal kick. Spangenberg will kick that away. So Spangenberg with the goal kick. Well, that goal has certainly livened up the place. Here's Ownby. Gets around Woodbine. And the clear, and it'll be a goal kick. Woodbine jumped up. I think he thought the whistle blew. I think he thought it might be a foul called, but so Cooper will take the goal kick. Well, Mark, pretty much the game we thought as far as intensity and competitiveness. And Cooper with the goal kick.
You know, the game that they played last year in the regular season, I think it was 4-1 Richmond. I think that's the only game that I've ever seen these two teams play where it was just a mismatch. It was
right.
Just a blowout. Every other game is 2-1, 3-2. Just always, these teams always seem to bring out the best in each other.
The Richmond fans are hoping this one ends 3-2 with the home team on top. Here's Ownby, and throw in for Richmond.
And let me add, Mike, as intense as this game has been, not a single yellow card yet.
Yes, that's right. Here's the ball.
It's the little things.
Jetty knocked that away to Van Schaik. Here's Chang. And Van Schaik back to Chang. Rolls it for Rodriguez. Just outside the box. Yambi with a little pirouette. Oh, nice composure by George Davis the fourth. Here's Iwuzu playing it forward. Here's Asante. Over to Troyer. Or excuse me, to Garaz.
Oh, good ball.
Gary just nudged it forward for Ownby. Oh, and Brian Ownby sends that one over the crossbar. Yep. Just a little flick from Deli.
Yep. Yeah, there have been some really good flicks from both teams that have sprung players into the attacking area.
There's the goal kick for Cooper.
I gotta wonder if there's some of those things, because Cooper's holding his leg again. His last couple punts and kicks have been, he's almost like shanking them, and he keeps rubbing his leg. There's got to be something wrong there, obviously.
There's Asante taking a look, and Chang read that. And that long ball will be handled in the box. Hey fans, don't forget all USL regular season and playoff games. They are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. There's an opportunity. George Davis the fourth. Plays it back. Owusu sends it into the box. Headed away by Ferguson. And now Troyer. He's going to send it into the middle, and that's knocked away. Here's Owusu.
Looks like Charleston's kind of bunkering in a little bit.
Here's Garaz. Here's Owusu. Tried to get a through ball, but denied by Charleston. And now Yambi just taps it over to Garaz. And Sasha with a nifty move. And that's going to get a roar from the home crowd. But listen, there's nothing the center referee can do about that.
Unfortunately, that's the third time that's happened tonight.
There is.
The crowd is letting them know what they think about the referee.
But
it does, it happens. I mean, they're part of the game.
That's right. All right, here's Courier. Over to Woodbine. Into the box, and boy, Yambi chested that one over. Jetty gets a head on that. Deli able to head it down to George Davis the fourth. Here's Jaisley. Trying to get around to Jetty. George Davis the fourth. Off to Owusu.
There's Garaz.
Nudges it and out of play.
Not what he had in mind.
No. Once again, fans, don't forget USL regular season playoff games available live, free, and HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today, uslsoccer.com.
Justin Portillo, number 20, coming in for Charleston. It's coming in for Sebastian Tourier.
Tourier takes a seat. So Portillo is in. And here's the goal kick from Cooper. Ball nudged over to Chang. Michael Chang trying to spin away from Troyer. Good job by Troyer to stay with him. Now he's got some help.
Oh, nice
Beautiful
move there.
Ball.
Good tackle there from Davis.
And then Troyer sends it forward. Here's Deli. On the run is Yeisley, and that pressure on Ferguson made him knock it out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Richmond.
Yeah, better safe than sorry there.
So Jason Yeisley will handle the throw-in.
Yeisley likes to do those long throw-ins, but I don't know if he's got enough. This is the short side of the field. I'm not sure if he's going to get enough area to throw it as far as he wants.
Winding down this second half, 2-2 tie. And it's headed away by Ajeti, and I think that's exactly what happened, Mark. Here's Troyer hooking a cross. Ownby trying to settle, and does. Off to Owusu. And that ball is headed away by Ajeti.
Come up on the 90th minute. I'm thinking we're probably going to have three. I'm going to go with 3 minutes of stoppage time, Michael.
And Guerras, great job by Guerras to save that. And then Ownby's taken down. And a yellow card is displayed.
There's the first plastic of the night in the 90th minute, no less.
And I think it's Woodbine. Yep, it's Woodbine that has shown the plastic. Lee Collishaw happened right in front of Lee. Lee's off the bench and down the sidelines.
They're going with 5 minutes of stoppage time, it looks like, Mike.
Wow.
Well, 3 goals, a bunch of subs. I'll go with that.
So Guerras will take this free kick. Didn't get a lot of air on that one.
No, good guy to clear the first defender on that ball.
Yep. 5 minutes of overtime. It's going to be an anxious 5 minutes for both teams. Here's Owusu.
You did not just say overtime.
Not over, I'm sorry. Stoppage time.
See? We're all involved in the game.
I've been watching the NHL too much. My apologies, folks. Stoppage time. Stoppage time. And people are going, shut up.
I can hear the purists just screaming at you right now.
I apologize. Thank you for catching that, Mr. Bushman. Here's Yeisley. And Guerras. Here's Owusu. Decides to take one right on goal, and Cooper.
Not bad at all.
No, that was
good look.
Good hard shot.
Struck very well. I think if you're Charleston, you're going to hold this. You're just going to hold this down, try to get out of here with the draw, because Richmond's really putting on the pressure right now.
And Owusu heads it forward, but then Prince in possession. Yeisley trying to win that ball, but Prince comes up with it. Sends it forward, and good job by Guerras, but loose ball is picked up and a shot blocked. And it comes free now to Chang. And Prince.
There's the Yambi special.
Yep, diving header from Yambi. Knocks it out of harm's way momentarily. Ball played back to Mueller. Hey, don't forget the play Mueller made on the end on the goal line.
Yep. That
saved a goal.
Here comes Richmond again.
Here's Deli.
Oh, it's just like hitting a tank, isn't it?
Chang's going, what wall did I just run into? And the ball cleared forward.
All kinds of room out there for Charleston.
Yeah, here's Prince. Into the middle, here's Chang. And Troyer headed that away. And now Robinson. George Davis, good job by George Davis the fourth getting to that ball. No foul called. And the ball played to Chang is shot. Oh! And a terrific stop that time as George Davis IV is still down. Spangenberg. Terrific play.
It did look like Davis got clipped. I
thought he got clipped, yeah. So we stay 2-2, and now has Richmond used their 5 allotted?
I thought you were going to ask me if they used their timeout, Mike.
No.
You already said overtime.
Icing. They iced the puck, didn't they? Now they used their. I don't think they've used their 5. Have they? They
used 4.
Okay, so if Davis cannot go, they can.
It looks like Hugh Roberts is actually going to come in for Davis.
Yeah, I was expecting a whistle. I think George Davis IV was expecting a whistle too, and
Charleston very nearly stole something there.
Yeah, Hugh Roberts is.
That probably adds about another minute of stoppage time, so I'm thinking maybe we have between 2 and 3.
So Spangenberg will kick it away for Richmond. And that went to Charleston. Not what he wanted to do. Here's Robinson off to Garez.
A lot of height in there for Richmond.
And Roberts trying to get a head on it, and he's whistled for the foul in the box. Him and Ferguson were battling for position, and our center referee caught Roberts. So Cooper now with the free kick in this 2-2 tie. And Troyer ball settled at midfield. Now Owusu. Roberts trying to run onto it. Ferguson got a head on it before him. Interesting. I thought Charleston had the advantage there, but the center referee decided to call the foul.
So I think Roberts has 2 fouls and no touches on the ball. That's not a good ratio.
That's not a good percentage when you.
I don't know if anybody's ever gotten a yellow card for persistent infringement when they come in at stoppage time.
There's the ball played, and Yambi will let the goalkeeper handle that. I'll tell you, Roberts does a lot of flying, but he doesn't touch the ball. There's Jambi.
Big aerial threat, though. Yeah, that's why he got him in there.
Exactly.
We got he and Yeisley and Deli. It looks like maybe about 30 seconds left.
Oh, good ball to Roberts. Hugh Roberts trying to tee it up. Knocked away from him by a jetty. And a corner kick.
All right.
Good work by Hugh Roberts.
This is probably it. You get another Garez the Deli special here.
Would not mind that in the least bit.
Send the crowd home happy. They're sure loud tonight.
So Garez will tee it up. Hits it. And that is it.
That's it.
Well, a very entertaining second half. Richmond jumped out to the 1-0 lead, and Charleston struck for a pair of goals early in the second half, only to see Deli convert late. And this game's going to end in a 2-2 draw.
Keeping the unbeaten streaks alive for both teams.
Yep. So a 2-2 draw here at City Stadium. So let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up from City Stadium, where again Richmond and Charleston battle to a 2-2 draw. So we'll be back and wrap things up with our post-game report for you from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, on the Richmond Kickers YouTube channel. Virginia. 2-2 draw this evening between the two rivals in USL. Of course, Richmond and Charleston. The Kickers grabbing the 1-0 halftime advantage on a goal from Brian Ownby on an assist from Alex Lee. And then a weird sequence to start the second half when Charleston struck for not only the tying goal, but then the go-ahead goal, which actually came on a clearing attempt by the goalkeeper, and it banged it off the Charleston player, and it rolled into the net. That gave them a 2-1 lead, and really it took a while for Richmond. There's a look at the tying goal. That came, as you can see, about the 78th, 79th minute. But after that tying goal by the go-ahead goal by Charleston, really, Mark, it looked like it took a while for Richmond to recover from that. They were stunned.
Yeah, they were. And then when Lee Calishaw made his substitutions, here we are taking a look at the first goal. Alex Lee went able to gate the defender there, hit the on-rushing Ownby for the goal there to get that 1-0 lead for Richmond. And
like I say, that those two quick goals from Charleston to start the second half really stunned Richmond, and I think it took them a little while to recover. But fortunately, they got that late corner kick opportunity. Sasha Garris put it right on the noggin of Delhi, and he placed it in the upper corner to tie it up. And I think this is probably both teams. What do you think? Are they both happy with this 2-2 draw?
If you're Richmond, no. If you're Charleston, yes, because you always want to get a point on the road, obviously. Charleston was able to do that. Actually, they might be a little more disappointed they couldn't hold on to the lead, because you're up 2-0 around the 80th minute. You really expect to be able to kill that game off. And they gave up a couple of set pieces to Richmond, which you have Delhi, you have Yaisley, you have Yombi. Eventually, one of those is going to get into an opportunity for the goal there, and that's exactly what happened. But like you said, with Richmond, after they gave up the 2 goals to Charleston, they looked kind of lost for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then when Lee Calishaw brought his subs in, it seemed to energize them a little bit.
And it was really interesting because when he went to the bench, of course, he brought in height, whereas the first half was mostly the small lineup, but then he brought in Delhi and Yaisley, and it paid off with the tying goal. So a 2-2 draw. As Mark mentioned, both teams remain unbeaten. Friday night, I believe, May 8th is when the Kickers will return to action on the road. They travel to Charlotte, and then they follow that with another road contest at Pittsburgh before returning home on May the 23rd, which I believe is a Saturday night here at City Stadium.
I believe that's where we are.
And they will come back and be home in a couple of weeks. Yeah, they're, as I mentioned, they're at Charlotte and then at Pittsburgh before entertaining Pittsburgh on Saturday, May 23rd. So for our entire production team, our camera crew, our director Mike, and of course everyone watching, you've been watching Richmond Kickers Soccer. I'm Mike Neville. Once again, the final score from City Stadium in Richmond, 2-2 draw between Richmond and Charleston this evening. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, everybody.